welcome to the Tom Trebelhorn Report. On my show, you'll get an inside look at baseball today. I'll introduce you to prominent players and coaches around the league who have some interesting views about the game. This is our segment, Player to Player. In Around the Majors, we'll check in with top stars from both leagues. I'll introduce you to prominent players from places like New York, Minnesota, and Boston. On Like a Pro, you'll get tips from the best in the business on hitting, fielding, base running, and pitching. On the road to the big leagues, you'll meet an athlete struggling to make it to the majors. Finally, I'll take you behind the scenes on our segment, The Inside Story. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Tom Trebelhorn Report. Coming up next on our feature Player to Player, my guest will be Sam Simplizio, outfield instructor and scout for the Milwaukee Brewers. Please stay tuned.
In the minors, you must have called it all 1,000 times. Then one day, you got the call.
What's this, rookie umpire?
Beechwood age for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
Compliment for that gentleman.
This bar's for you. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Milk chocolate, that's creamy. Blending Krispies, ooh, so dreamy. Scrumptious. Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
And look for Nestle Crunch ice cream bars. They're scrumptious, too.
My guest today is Sam Simplizio, outfield instructor and scout of the Milwaukee Brewers. And Sam is in that unique position in which he works both on and off the field, but one of his most important jobs comes in the scouting area. And Sam, what does it mean when you are a scout and you scout the free agent market?
Tom, when we go out as scouts and look at free agents, we're talking about the high school youngster who may be a senior in high school and a professional prospect. We're talking about the junior college baseball player who may be considered a prospect, or we're talking about the four-year college prospect that we like and think has the tools to play in the big leagues. On occasion, you have tryout camps and schools for free agents around the country where you hope to pick up somebody that no one else has seen before. In the free agent market, you're simply looking at players who have never played before.
But Sam, what are the things you look for now when you are talking about free agent scouting? And you go out and look at a ball player, regardless of what position he may play, what are some of the key things as a scout you look for to try to project him as a major league player?
Tom, when going out and looking at the ball player, you try to find out everything you can about him. We scout the outer half of a youngster and the inner half of a youngster. The outer half of a youngster is how does he run and his running speed. How does he throw? His arm strength. How does he swing a bat? Can he hit with power? Does he make contact? Does he have a short, quick swing? We look at his feet and his quickness if he's an infielder or an outfielder. We look at his agility. Can he field and throw quickly? And you see all of those things we call the outer half of a youngster. And then the thing that you'd like to find out about a boy or a young player as much as you can, and it's difficult to find out, is the inner half. But by watching him and reading body language and looking at what he does on the field, you can find out how competitive he is, how confident he is in his abilities, how much courage he has, and how good he is when he's getting beat, how good is he and how does he react when he's ahead. And it tells you a lot about the makeup of a youngster. And I think it's important that we know when scouting a player who's never played professional baseball before, we know how well the outer half, how good the outer half is, and we know how good the inner half is.
In order to get a good read on a player, in order to give him a good scout and a good look-see, how many times do you like to see a player before you can really make a real good, valid report on him?
I'd like to see a boy no less than 4 times, Tom. I think it's really difficult to go in and see a youngster one time and really make a judgment on him, unless he's a superstar. The superstar, you can send your wife out to scout, you know. The superstar is so good that you go out and you look at him, you know he's a can't-miss major leaguer. But 99% of the kids fall in a category of all having some ability, and it's up to you as a scout to pick out that youngster that might be possess the tools for major league ability. And that's when scouting really becomes important.
Okay, now Sam, say I'm a young player and I think I've got pretty good ability. I think I've got a chance to play pro ball. I'd really like to get a chance to play in the major leagues, but I don't think I've been scouted very much. In other words, I don't know if a scout has watched me, or I don't really think I've been scouted. What are 3 things I can do to try to get my abilities to Major League ball clubs so that I will indeed be scouted and maybe have a chance to be signed?
Tom, I tell you, lots of what we find out about young people come from the young people, come from their parents, come from their college coach or high school coach. Number one, I'd say go to your coach and ask the coach if he wouldn't be kind enough to write the Brewers, write the Cardinals, write another major league club, and ask if their scout in that area would be kind enough to come out and watch me play. And let the coach or the adult in the affair take the initiative to make the contact for you. But boy, don't be bashful. If you want to be looked at, let people know about yourself. Send information, send clippings, and let us know what you think you can do. We'll be sure and look you up.
Sam, I'm a 21-year-old baseball player. I think I've got pretty good ability. I doubt whether or not I've been scouted. Well, what can I do to really get my talent showcased? What are some of the things I can do that maybe would get me a look-see by a major league organization?
Well, when you get to be age 21, Tom, and you haven't played college ball, you have been out of baseball a couple of years, you haven't been playing, I can say this honestly, it's very difficult to go to a tryout camp and really execute and show tools like you have to in a game of baseball. There are so many skills involved that I think the only way you can keep those skills honed and developed is having been participating in a game either at a college level or the semi-pro level. You've got to be playing.
Do you think in today's day and age of scouting, are there any players out there in America today that probably could play in the big leagues but won't be scouted?
Yes, we make mistakes. I think I'd be the first to admit that there might be a youngster in an area that nobody sees. And not only that, he may not know how good he is. But 99% of the time, we'll find him. If they can play, the word will be out and we'll get him scouted.
Key thing in all this then is, if you've got good ability and you play hard and you're inside a program, chances are you'll be scouted. If you're not scouted, get a hold of an organization, drop them a letter, get an adult, a coach, a manager, get them to write that letter for you, let it know you're interested in playing pro ball, and you might have a chance. So keep working hard. You're probably going to be scouted. If you don't think you are, ask for a scout. And good luck to you if you want to play Major League Baseball. Coming up on our feature Like a Pro will be Boston Red Sox right-handed pitcher Roger Clemens with some pitching tips. Stay tuned.
The thing I've noticed is the students who carry sack and school bags have certain things in common. They feel good about sharing their work. They're sticklers for organization, curious about their fellow students. But above all, they stay cool in pressure situations.
Sack it. The school bags.
Isn't this short as biology?
It's home ec, bud.
My wife. I love her. I hate her. She can eat anything and not gain a pound. Now she started drinking my Diet 7-Up because it tastes so great. I always knew it tasted great. What if everyone finds out? People who can drink anything will drink all the Diet 7-Up. Is that fair? There'll be shortages, rationing.
Want some ice cream, honey?
No thanks, dear. I hate her.
Only one taste feels so good.
Diet 7-Up.
Scarface Al Capone, for 50 years, the symbol of organized crime in America. Well, times have changed, and so have the faces of crime. Smoke-filled back rooms give way to boardrooms. This is the new mafia, more organized, more ruthless than ever. It's big business, and it's everywhere, even in your hometown. I'll take you face-to-face with some of today's most notorious crime leaders, the sons of Scarface.
Monday night at 7, right here on Super 18.
To my way of thinking, when you're stumped on a problem at school, you got to study it from all angles. Try a new approach. Work at it diligently. And never give up, because oftentimes the solution is right under your nose.
Bracket, the locker shelves.
Wow, a miracle of modern science.
No gimmicks, just great deals await you at Silver Spring Nissan's Overstock Sale, where you can own the #1 quality Japanese import car, the new '87 Nissan Sentra, or a new '87 Nissan truck for just $100 per month. The choice is yours. A new Nissan Sentra or truck for only $100 per month. That's right, only $100 per month. Get your deal of a lifetime, because nobody sells Nissans for less and offers discounts up to $4,000, 2.9% financing, and a new Sentra or truck for only $100 per month. Ray Harris, Silver Spring Nissan, home of king-size discounts, 1500 West Silver Spring, Milwaukee.
Bud Thunder. It's revved up and coming at you.
Hi, on today's Like a Pro, I'm going to show you my fastball, which is my bread and butter pitch. There's two different types of fastballs that I throw, and I'm going to demonstrate those to you right here in a moment. The first type of fastball that I knew when all throughout college and up to my first 2 years in the big leagues is a with-the-seam fastball. This is a pitch that will move a little bit more than the cross-seamer, which I'll show you later, but this pitch is maybe to deceive the hitter a little bit more, just so you got a ball that's not as straight and it moves around a little bit, makes it a little tougher on the hitters. The way I throw this pitch is I bring the ball up. It's just like it says, a with-the-seam fastball. You have the two seams. You place both fingers right on the seams, and you have the ball jointed just like this. And the reason why it does it, it's called a with-the-seam fastball. And the reason probably why it moves more than the cross-seamer is when you release it, you get this rotation right here. And the ball will rotate this way. You have two seams breaking into the wind instead of four. And the two seams will cause this ball to move in and out or dip and dive, which might deceive the hitter a little bit. Now, opposing that, in 1985, I learned the cross-seam fastball, which probably helped me, the greatest amount. Bill Fisher, our pitching coach, helped me with this pitch. And when you release the ball where it's going to stay there. It's a pitch that will ride a little bit, maybe rise. Once you throw it in or out, it's going to stay there, and you can really position this ball. It's a power pitch for me, and it's worked a great extent for me also. This way, I'll demonstrate to you here, here's the with the seam again. I'll rotate this ball across, and I have a cross seam, or what you call across the seams. Your fingers are placed across the seams that way. The reason why this ball will stay straighter and probably rise, they say it will rise. A lot of people say a ball cannot rise, but this ball will jump. And when it rotates, there it is. You have four seams rotating into the wind when you release it, and it'll cause the ball to get this action here and stay wherever you put it. If I go inside or I go outside, that ball usually stays in that area. These are the way I throw it, and these are my bread and butter pitches, and help me in the big leagues.
Coming up next will be our segment, The Inside Story.
Easily one of the most recognizable figures at a National League game is umpire John Patrick McSherry, known around the baseball world affectionately as Big John. McSherry umped his first game in the National League in June of 1971 and has been at it ever since.
I spent 4 years and 6 weeks in minor leagues, 2 in A ball, 2.5 in AAA, and I was 4 years in winter ball, instructional league. And I was lucky, though. The National League looked at me after only 2 years, and that's a break most guys don't get.
During the off-season, McSherry resides in Santee, California. And to keep busy, he keeps umping as a teacher at a nearby umpiring school. So as you can well imagine, he really loves baseball.
I was always an ardent baseball fan. I was one of those people who knew who was playing in the minor leagues, and I was one of those people who went to Philadelphia and Pittsburgh in the 8th grade. I used to go to Philadelphia to watch the Dodgers play, go home, my father beat me up, and then go see him again the next day. And I was always loved baseball. Went to ball games wherever it was, even college games and stuff, like to watch, and got umpiring when I was 16. But I think what happens now, enough things happen to you when you're in it as a living that it becomes more of a job, but it's still something I absolutely love.
But there are some aspects of the game he could do without, like arguing with a player or manager. Make no mistake about it, these discussions are for real.
The idea that some fans have that arguments are put on is not true. I think in the vast majority of cases, 99%, if you want to use a number, the arguments are for real. Sometimes personalities enter into it. A manager may not like a guy more than he dislikes other guys or something like that. Then it may get heated where it wouldn't get heated in another situation. And how you handle situations is basically what makes you a big league umpire. You know, all other things being equal, handling situations are the most important part of the job.
And what about the fans? They're basically misunderstood.
I think most of the time when a fan meets an umpire, first thing they usually have is a bad joke. Second thing they usually tell you is, you know, can you really see, or something like that. And the problem is, this is the first time they've ever dealt with an umpire as a person. And they don't yell at a person. They yell at number 10 in the black jacket who just called their favorite ball player out. They don't yell at John McSherry. Some of the diehard fans who know you do. But even there, you're something to yell at. You're not a person that they're yelling at.
And while for some, the life of an umpire can be eventful, for McSherry, it's a lonely existence.
If you like the life, in other words, if you don't mind the travel and if you can get by with being away from home, this is not a bad life.
But all things considered, becoming an umpire was Big John's best call.
Umpiring in major leagues is a great thing. And when you get a chance to do something for a living that you want to do all your life, that's a great thing. You can't beat that.
Coming up next on our feature Around the Majors will be pitcher Todd Worrell of the St. Louis Cardinals with his guest Ricky Horton.
My wife, I love her. I hate her. She can eat anything and not gain a pound. Now she started drinking my Diet 7-Up because it tastes so great. I always knew it tasted great. What if everyone finds out? People who can drink anything will drink all the Diet 7-Up. Is that fair? There'll be shortages, rationing.
Want some ice cream, honey?
No thanks, dear. I hate her.
Only one taste feels so good.
Diet 7-Up.
This is a big event. Sun Valley Waterbed's 12th birthday sale with tremendous savings on everything in our showrooms across America. Take an overnight vacation on the Reflections, now $5.99. Save $200 on our Visions wall system, now $6.99. And kids' waterbeds start at just $99. Buy a designer comforter for $69 and get free satin sheets. Big savings for you. To celebrate our 12th birthday, now at Sun Valley Waterbeds.
It's the 1987 model countdown clearance at Jack Safro Nissan and Jack Safro Suzuki. Every 1987 Nissan and every 1987 Suzuki Samurai has to go. Own a new Nissan Sentra for $133 down and $133 per month. We're passing on Nissan incentives up to $1,400 cash. Suzuki Samurais are priced from $74.95. Now at Jack Safro Nissan and Jack Safro Suzuki on South 27th Street, just 2 minutes south of 894.
Nervous?
It's just a reunion. It's no big deal. We were just good friends.
Right. So why the new dress?
Well...
And why a new antiperspirant?
Secret? Because it works.
Honey, it's strong enough for a man.
Uh-huh. But pH balanced for a woman.
Now, you are definitely a woman.
Ooh.
And you smell so...
Fresh. My new Secret Spring Breeze. Perfect for women with jealous husbands.
Jealous? Nah. But just wear this.
That's awful.
Exactly.
New Secret Spring Breeze, strong enough for a man.
But pH balanced for a woman.
And now let's check in with Todd Worrell of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Today's guest on the show is left-handed pitcher Ricky Horton. Ricky, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Todd.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to the big leagues with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Well, Todd, I was drafted in 1980 at the University of Virginia, and as you know, a lot of players grew up wanting to play Major League Baseball, and that's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to play ball, and was fortunate enough the Cardinals took a chance on me in 1980, and I spent 4 years in the minor leagues, came up in 1984, and been fortunate enough to stay here for 3 years and hope I can stay here for a few more.
Fantastic. As you might all know, Ricky is a very versatile pitcher with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's done relief, middle relief, even started games for Whitey Herzog. Ricky, tell us a little bit about, is that a big adjustment for you? Do you like doing that?
Well, I think it's a big challenge. You know, a lot of pitchers feel that they can only be a starter or a reliever, and I felt that way myself when I was pitching in the minor leagues, that I can't relieve and start both. It's not going to be good for my arm. It'll be hard to prepare. And somewhere along the line, I learned that that versatility was going to be good for me. If I could start and relieve, I don't throw as hard as you, Todd, so I needed to have something a little bit extra to stay in this game. And I found that was becoming a valuable asset in the game of baseball for a pitcher to start and relieve both. And just got my mind set on being able to do it. And it's taken a little bit of work, and Mike Rourke's helped me an awful lot with the mental approach to my versatility, and it's given me a good career so far. So I have no complaints.
Well, I know it's vital to the St. Louis Cardinals, your versatility. What do you like the best? Do you like relieving, or do you like starting games?
I think there's things I like about each one. I like being in the bullpen because it's a lot of fun, and you get to sit out there, and you don't know what kind of contribution you may make on any given day. You might be in 3 days in a row, and there's something exciting about that. Starting is fun because you go to the park knowing you're going to contribute on certain days. You know that you're going to get a chance to go out there and throw 7 or 8 innings, hopefully. And there are good things about each, and I think as long as I can keep optimistic about both roles, it'll be easier for me. I think, you know, guys tend to say, well, relief is tough because, you know, it's harder on your arm, or starting is tough because if you have a bad game, you can't pitch again for another 5 days. You know, all those negative things I try to keep out of my head. If I just continue to look at the positive aspects of each, I'll be a lot better off.
All right. You know, a lot of pitchers, you know, worry about how good their pitches are, whether their fastball location. I've noticed in your repertoire of pitching, you also have a great move to first base. How important is that for a pitcher to be able to keep runners on close to first base, even second base?
I think it's very important. I had that stressed by my high school coach. All the way back to high school, my coach told me that if you can pick off 10 or 15 runners a year, that might be 8 or 10 runs that don't score. That might be 1 or 2 wins that you get extra. So it's extremely valuable. The less guys running around the bases, the better off I am. And it's also important for me to be able to field my position on balls hit back to me. When you don't really throw hard and get a lot of strikeouts, which is the type of pitcher I am, you really need to do the little things well. So it's something I worked on in high school and throughout college and the minor leagues, and it's really helped me out.
That's right. He's definitely got one of the best moves in the game to first base. In closing right here, if you could give one tip or one thing that a young pitcher could take and use as he's developing, what would that be?
I think the biggest thing for me is concentration, and different people have to work on that different ways, I guess, but really the key when you're on the mound, and you know about this, is you have to be thinking about the glove only. You have to be thinking about throwing strikes. It's something they stress when you're 8 years old in Little League, and it's something they stress at the big league level too. You've got to just get in your own little world and concentrate, and if it's something you need to work at when you're just playing catch or throwing on the side, work on it, because if you're playing in front of 20,000 people or 30,000 people, or playing in front of your parents if you're a little leaguer, you can't be thinking about that. You have to be thinking about just that glove and throwing strikes. And concentration is a big part of my game, and without it, I'd be in big trouble.
That's definitely a key. Well, Ricky, thanks for being with us today on the show. Enjoyed having you.
Always a pleasure talking to you, Todd.
All right.
Today on Like a Pro, I'm going to give you some tips on managing. Managing is a very important and interesting job, and I think the most important thing you have to do in managing is learning your ball club. You have to know who can do what and when they can do it, and then when you get into a certain situation, you have to use only those people that have proven to you that they can handle that situation. That means in putting together a ball club, we not only want to pick the best players position by position, but we want to pick the best players who will also be able to come off the bench and do something. And I think it's the same thing whether you're coaching Little League or you're coaching Babe Ruth, high school, or whatever it is. You have to learn your abilities, your limitations, and what your ball club can do. Once you've learned that, the easiest thing then to do is get out of their way and let them go out and do what you know they can do best. In putting together this Milwaukee ball club this year, we certainly did not take the guys from our minor league system or those players with good major league experience who had put certain numbers on the board. We put this club together with the idea that we're going to get some guys who are going to play every day, they were going to play 90% of the time, and the other players we put on the bench or we put in the bullpen would be those fellows who we felt could do the job at the time that was going to be important. We've put right-handed hitters who can come off the bench and make contact, the same thing with guys from the left side of the plate. Defensively, we've kept a very utilitarian-type player who could play all 4 infield positions, plus go in the outfield, plus an emergency catch. So I think the key thing, once again, the key thing of managing is learning your ball club, learning the limitations, learning the boundaries of those individual players, and then only using them in such a way that you know they have a high degree of success involved in the situation. Once again, the key thing, and the number one key thing in managing, and this is managing anywhere, whether it be baseball, whether it be a plant, whether it be anything, the key thing is to learn your personnel and utilize your personnel to the best advantage of a successful situation. Don't ask of people what you know they can't deliver in certain situations. Make a change, make an alteration, and learn your ball club and learn what they can and cannot do, and then use those tools and those skills to the best advantage of winning that particular ball game.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Milk chocolate.